Greetings, African people. Have you ever heard of the term covert narcissism? It applies to individuals who, on the surface appears to be kind and loving and gentle, altruistic in nature, individuals who give so much of themselves and are often very loved. They go out of their way to show that part of themselves, that really nice, wonderful part of themselves. But the people who are closest to them know that this is not true. So it could be a pastor, a doctor, a teacher, a nurse, anybody who's in a position who has the ability to change people's lives, who can contribute in other people's life in positive ways. These individuals work hard at presenting themselves as loving. Do you know anybody who's like that? But you see another side of this individual that they don't want anybody else to see. I met a few of these kinds of individuals, and it's not pleasant. It's not cute. And if you ever call them out, you stand a great risk of losing a lot of things, including your life, depending on the position of this covert narcissist. I'm going to share a story of my experience with 3 different covert narcissists. I remember I was going through some terrible situation on my job. Individuals are straight up wicked. I can't use any other words to describe it. And on the low, I would just avoid them, keep to myself, and things like that. But these individuals always wanted me to think that they were nice. But what they were doing to me in front of their friends was just not nice. So for example, one of them, claimed to be my friend. And when her other friends were around, she would completely ignore me, or if I said anything to her, she would discard me, or she would leave me with a sarcastic remark, and I had enough of it. So one day I was there talking to her, and the next minute, her friends came by and she completely ignored me as if I wasn't in the room. And when they were gone, she came to my work area, and I asked her to leave. I said, you need to go. You're not a nice person. When you're with me, you give the impression that you're a nice person, but when your friends come around, you're very nasty. And she started crying. She says, I'm a very nice person. I'm very nice. And the situation that I was in, kids were around. So I didn't want the kids to walk in and see this big 35-year-old woman crying. So I hurried up and I hushed her. I'm like, it's okay. It's all right. And she left. On another occasion, an adult told a child some unkind things. And the child came back to me and repeated what this person said to some other folks that were standing by. And I sent her a note and I said, that was not very kind. I understand that what you said sort of indicate that you're thinking I'm a thief. Why would you say something? Why would you question what I told you? You're saying that I'm a liar based on the remark you made in front of this child. And she came and she denied the whole thing and she started crying. And before you know it again, I was comforting her. On another occasion, I stayed over for a meeting. We were all invited or expected to stay for this meeting. It's not invited, it's a part of your job. And so I had to meet with some people. That was our job that afternoon. We all had different persons that we had to meet with and interview with. And one of my colleagues saw me in the hallway and asked me if I stayed for the pizza. They had ordered pizza for the workers. And the thing about it is I don't eat out of my house unless I'm going to the restaurant, whatever. I don't engage in potlucks. because there are some very nasty people, and I don't know nothing about you. I see people in the washroom, in the toilet, washing lettuce and tomato for a potluck at work. So I think to myself, if this is how you are in public, what are you like in private? So I'm not really into the eating thing when it comes to work environments and people bringing food from their home. So they ordered pizza. I didn't know they did. And she says, "Oh, you stayed for the pizza?" And I said to her, "No, I thought I stayed for the meeting." And she took offense to what I said to her. And I'm a very observant person and quite intuitive. So the next day, I went to her to say hello, because this is somebody, that used to always go out of her way to say hello to me. And God forbid, if I alienated this person, it would be the end of the world. This was a very Christian lady. So I went to her and I said, I get the feeling that I might have offended you with my response, but dry humor, his dry humor. I did stay for the meeting, not for the pizza. So she was on the defense. She's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Yet she repeated the whole conversation. And before you know it, I was comforting her too. I had a lot of that experience on my job with women, though. They were so horrible. And when I called them, I found myself comforting them. They were so manipulative and so self-involved. But on the surface, when you see them, you think they're very nice. Do you know anybody who's like that? If that is not abuse taken to another level, I don't know what is. So I find nowadays that individuals come out and they throw temper tantrum when people confront them about the things that they're doing that is wrong in the world. As soon as you come out and you say, "Okay, you're doing this, I don't like it, stop it," all of a sudden, adult men and women start throwing temper tantrums, and they fail to see the horrible things that they do to other people. Do you know anyone who's like that? What kind of world are we living in where individuals feel like they have the birthright to just abuse other people? And when you dare to stand up and speak out, all of a sudden you become an endangered species. I don't like talking about these things all the time, but I'm so tired of seeing, these double standards in the earth. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of apologizing to folks for just being myself. And I'm sick of not being able to speak up, because as African people, we are children. We're like kids, and we're treated as such. Individuals think that we're kids, and they've always dominated us and controlled us. And so it's kind of frightening. I cannot understand where they're at, because it's frightening. All of a sudden, your kids are growing up and standing up to you. That must be upsetting. But on the other hand, I blame us also, because if you have an animal and you mistreat your animal and the animal keep running behind you, you'll never really know what you're doing that is wrong, because the animal is still giving you and showing you love. So as African people, when individuals abuse us and we insist on running behind them and loving them and, praying and worshiping them, they will never stop kicking you until you say, "Enough. I will not tolerate this anymore." And this word of tolerance, I can use it in this sentence. I will not tolerate your abuse. And if you want to throw temper tantrums because I stand up and say no more, then you know what? You can chuck off into a well without water. Be blessed, everybody. Think on these things.